Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you own rental property, you already know the stakes are high. Today, we're breaking down the definitive blueprint for structuring and protecting your real estate investments. We're pulling some highly practical, data-driven insights straight from Alpine Property Management, Kansas City. They've been managing properties for real estate investors across the metro area since 2013. So believe me, they know exactly what protects your assets, and more importantly, what puts them at serious risk. Let's jump right in. Right off the bat, every single investor eventually hits this one fundamental question. Whether you're buying your first duplex or, your 20th single-family home, how should you hold the title? Should it be in your personal name or tucked away in a legal entity? Let's look at the insights from Alpine to see exactly why this single decision forms the absolute bedrock of your entire investment strategy.
So here's our roadmap for today. 1. Why use an LLC? 2. Missouri versus Kansas LLCs. 3. The due on sale clause. 4. Local Kansas City compliance. 5. Common structuring mistakes. And finally, 6. Advanced structures and management.
Section 1. Why use an LLC? Asset protection.
All right, think of an LLC like a massive fortress wall. It legally separates and protects your personal savings and your own home from something like a random slip-and-fall lawsuit at your rental property. Because without that legal separation, a judgment against you could literally expose your primary residence, your retirement accounts, pretty much the whole shebang. An LLC limits that exposure strictly to the assets held within that specific company. Plus, it provides fantastic operational clarity for out-of-state investors by creating a clean, easy-to-follow paper trail for your CPA. It's really a win-win.
Now, a quick reminder that this explainer is strictly educational. You should always consult your CPA or attorney for specific legal or tax advice. Our focus today is purely on the practical, data-driven side of property management.
Moving right along to Section 2, Missouri versus Kansas LLCs, State Differences.
When we look at the formation data, it reveals some really stark differences straight across the state line. Honestly, Missouri is incredibly investor-friendly. The online filing fee there is just $50, compared to a totally different ballpark of $160 in Kansas. Missouri also offers strong member privacy, publicly disclosing only the organizer and registered agent. Kansas, on the other hand, requires members or managers to be listed on annual reports, offering only moderate privacy at best.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that forming a straightforward single-member LLC online in Missouri is incredibly affordable. We're talking $50. For just $50, you can establish that fortress wall we talked about earlier. There's literally almost no excuse to operate without one when the barrier to entry is this remarkably low.
Okay, Section 3, the due on sale clause, lender acceleration.
Now, this is the issue that gives investors so much anxiety. Technically, transferring a property into an LLC gives the lender the right to demand full repayment right then and there. But there's massive reassurance here. A 2016 Fannie Mae update expressly permits transfers to LLCs controlled by the original borrower. So as long as you're the majority owner, the mortgage is paid on time, and the property is fully insured, lenders generally have absolutely zero incentive to actually call your loan.
Let's look at Section 4, local Kansas City compliance, local registration.
So holding your property in an LLC doesn't exempt you from local rules. If your property is in Kansas City, Missouri, you absolutely must follow these exact steps to legally operate. First, you've got to file Form RD-100 to set up your earnings tax account. Second, you need to register with the Healthy Homes Rental Inspection Program. This costs $25 per unit annually, and yes, it's required regardless of whether you hold the title personally or in an LLC.
And there's a massive geographical distinction to be highly aware of here. Johnson County, Kansas, has a much lighter regulatory burden compared to the rigorous inspections on the Missouri side. Kansas state law actually significantly limits local rental inspection programs, meaning cities like Overland Park and Olathe operate entirely differently than Kansas City, Missouri. You really have to know exactly which municipality your property sits in.
Bringing us to Section 5, Common Structuring Mistakes. Avoid these pitfalls.
What's really fascinating is how easily these protections can just fall apart. These are the rapid-fire pitfalls that can instantly destroy your liability fortress. The biggest one, commingling funds. If you deposit rent directly into your personal checking account, courts can pierce the corporate veil, and boom, your protection is completely gone. Another massive mistake is over-engineering. You don't need a complex Wyoming holding company for one single-family rental in Missouri. It just creates unnecessary fees with zero added protection.
And watch out for this one,
If you miss Missouri's $50 annual filing deadline by 60 days, your LLC is administratively dissolved, and your real estate deals will completely stall. This happens between January 1st and April 1st every single year. If your LLC is dissolved, you can't hold title, you can't close on a sale, and you can't even maintain legal actions in court. It's a total, completely avoidable disaster.
Finally, Section 6, Advanced Structures and Management, Scaling Your Portfolio. For those of you with growing portfolios, let's look at the final piece of the puzzle. If you own 5 or more properties, a series LLC can be a real game changer and highly cost-effective. Instead of forming 5 different LLCs and paying 5 separate annual fees, you create one master LLC with separate series underneath it. If a lawsuit hits property A, the assets in property B remain completely isolated and protected. Just make sure your lender is perfectly comfortable with this newer structure before you pull the trigger.
Because operational clarity is absolutely vital, an authoritative partner like Alpine organically handles the heavy lifting of compliance, like that RD100 form and the Healthy Homes registration we talked about. Crucially, they execute the management agreement directly with your LLC. This ensures your tenant's legal relationship is with your business, not you personally, which completely reinforces the liability separation you've worked so hard to build.
So take a hard look at your assets right now. Ask yourself, are your personal savings truly protected? If you own property in your own name, or if you're accidentally commingling funds, you're taking a massive, unnecessary risk. Setting up a Missouri LLC is fast, it's incredibly cheap, and it secures your financial future. For help managing your Kansas City rental property, call Alpine at 816-343-4520 or visit alpinekansascity.com.